Well, hello there, I'm Emrys from cruisesite.com. Well, are you ready for a bit of cruise news? Well, passengers booked on Carnival's new ship will be happy to know she's on her way. Also, news on Royal Caribbean, NCL and MSC Cruises. Welcome to another weekly cruise news update, and we're sure those booked on Carnival's newest cruise ship will like to know that she's on her way to Florida. However, it's not all good for the Miami-based cruise line as its oldest vessel reaches the end of its final journey, which we will get into a little bit later on. We've got news on Royal Caribbean's impressive new Galveston cruise terminal, Norwegian Cruise Line's newer ship arriving in the cruise capital of the world for some inaugural sailings, and record bookings for the world's fastest growing cruise line, MSC Cruises. Right, we've got lots to update you on, so your cruise news update begins now. We start with the grand opening of Royal Caribbean's state-of-the-art cruise terminal at the port of Galveston in Texas. The $125 million terminal opened on November 9th with a ribbon-cutting ceremony and to celebrate the arrival of the port's first ever Oasis-class cruise ship, Allure of the Seas. Royal Caribbean's 161,334 square foot Galveston terminal began construction in November 2021 and was completely built within a short 1-year build period, offering employment opportunities for some 800 people. Royal Caribbean International President and CEO Michael Bailey and Port Director Roger Rees also made an appearance at the special event, as the city of Galveston marked the day with recognition of the line's commitment and the successful partnership that began over 20 years ago when the first ship in the fleet departed from Galveston. Now, the home to the state's first Oasis-class ship, the new Zero Energy terminal expects to welcome as many as 630,000 passengers per year. The cruise line's Galveston terminal will be the first LEED certified zero energy facility in the world. Yes, folks, that's the world. And it will receive 100% of the energy it needs through on-site solar panels. Very impressive indeed. Well, on Sunday, November 13th, 2022, following a special preview voyage, the 18-deck ship will be sailing its first regular voyage out of its new home port for a round-trip 7-day Western Caribbean itinerary that will visit Costa Maya in Mexico and, of course, Cozumel, also in Mexico. For the winter 2022-23 season, Allure of the Seas will continue to sail 7-night Western Caribbean itineraries from the port. Well, what do you think of this shiny new Royal Caribbean terminal? I would love to know your thoughts in the comments below. Those who are eagerly awaiting Carnival Cruise Line's newest XL-class vessel, the Carnival Celebration, will be happy to know she's on her way. Yes, finally, the ship actually arrived in Southampton last week after previously being delivered from the Meyer-Turku shipyard in Finland. It marked the first new Carnival cruise ship in the UK in 20 years. Oh my, was it that long? The new XL class ship is currently heading for her new home of Port Miami in Florida. The ship set off on a 14-day transatlantic voyage on Sunday, November 6th, and includes a visit to La Coruna in Spain on November 8th, Vigo, also in Spain, on November 9th, Funchal in Madeira on November 11th, and finally Tenerife in the Canary Islands on November 12th, before arriving in Miami on November 20th. And you need to take note of that date, November 20th, so you can watch the ship head on in to her new home port of Miami. Remember that date, November 20th. The naming ceremony for Carnival Celebration will take place on the day the ship arrives at the newly upgraded Port Miami Terminal F. It will be an extra special day as the new complex opens and the ship makes its maiden visit home. Cassidy Gifford will become the ship's godmother, following her mother, Kathy Lee Gifford, who was the godmother of the original Celebration cruise ship in 1987. Wow, and actually I used to work on the Celebration, so I was very sad to see that ship scrapped. The LNG powered ship will be sailing week-long Eastern and Western Caribbean itineraries out of Miami and offering guests a whole lot of fun, including the Bolt roller coaster and its 6 themed zones, including the Miami-inspired 820 Biscayne zone. And while we're on the topic of the Bolt roller coaster, there was some confusion over the price on its transatlantic voyage. We've got coverage on that over on cruisehive.com. Well, Celebration is the sister ship to Mardi Gras and the upcoming Carnival Jubilee, which will arrive in 2023. Carnival Celebration is 183,521 gross tons with a guest capacity of 5,374 at double occupancy, along with 1,735 crew members. Are you excited to see Carnival Celebration arrive home in Florida? Do let us know in the comments below. Now, just before we update you on record bookings, a new ship in Miami, and a sad ending for a Carnival cruise ship, if you could just like the video and subscribe to the Cruise Hive YouTube channel so we can continue making cruise news updates yes, that's right, just for you. The effect of the excitement that has built up for MSC Cruises' newest cruise ships reached an all-time high in October 2022. The fastest growing cruise line in the world reported record-breaking bookings for cruises this winter and the summer of 2023, with nearly 400,000 passenger bookings. Wow. The release of its latest flagship, the 215,863 gross ton MSC World Europa, the soon-to-be delivered MSC Seascape, and MSC Euribia, which will come into service in mid-2023, has driven the popularity of the cruise line, boosted by the pent-up demand for cruising worldwide. It's not just the brand new ships either. MSC Cruises launched 5 new cruise ships in the last 3 years. Wow. The cruise line is one of the few to have a permanent position in emerging markets such as the Middle East, and is the biggest cruise operator in South America, Africa, and even Europe. MSC Cruises has seen remarkable growth over the last 10 years with its upscale value for money cruise offerings. The company has released new ships at a record rate, and the fleet is set to grow to 23 ships by 2025, with options for 6 more new cruise ships through 2030. MSC Cruises is not just seeing record-breaking booking numbers for this winter and the upcoming summer season. The long-term bookings are looking equally strong. Well, are you excited to hear this news about MSC Cruises? How does the cruise line compare to the likes of Carnival and Royal Caribbean in the US? I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. The new class Norwegian Prima arrived in the cruise capital of the world on November 11th for the first time ever, in anticipation of 2 inaugural cruises from NCL's award-winning terminal in Port Miami. The first voyage departed on November 11th, and the second will depart on November 14th. The two sailings will be special short inaugural offerings, with guests trying out all the new innovative features for the first time out of Miami. Each sailing will include a visit to Norwegian Cruise Line's private island in the Bahamas' Great Stirrup Cay. On November 13th, it will be the first visit to the 270-acre island for the Norwegian Prima, with guests enjoying all the beaches, a zipline, and of course, an exclusive retreat. The Norwegian cruise ship has been busy since first arriving in the US in October 2022. After celebrating its official naming ceremony in Reykjavik, Iceland in September, and a series of initial sailings, the Norwegian Prima headed across the Atlantic. Norwegian Prima will eventually settle down from her busy US inaugural tour in mid-December. The ship will begin year-round 7-night itineraries from Port Canaveral until March 2023, including calls to Cozumel, Grand Cayman, Ocho Rios, and of course Great Stirrup Cay. The ship is the first in its class at 143,535 gross tons and measuring 965 feet long, with a guest capacity of 3,100 at double occupancy. Are you excited to try out NCL's latest and greatest ship? Do let us know. We end with a bit of sad news as the Fantasy class Carnival Ecstasy cruise ship has been beached for scrapping at the Aliaga ship breaking facility in Turkey. The vessel actually recently arrived just off the coast, positioned at rest, presumably at anchor, just 3.8 miles northeast of the break-in yard. It has taken 3 weeks for the ship to reach the shipyard, though that has included time to debark crew members so they can return home if their contracts ended with the ship's last sailing, or to transfer to different ships if they were reassigned for the rest of their contract time. There has been no rush for the ship to reach the shipyard. Sailing speeds have been impacted by weather and fuel efficiency as the ship has made her way to her final destination for scrapping. Much onboard material has already been removed from the ship, especially materials that can be used on other ships in the fleet. Well, Carnival Ecstasy sailed her last cruise with guests October 10th to 15th, 2022, a 5-night Western Caribbean sailing from Mobile, Alabama that visited Cozumel and Progreso in Mexico. Of the original 8 Fantasy class vessels, 6 have now been scrapped. 5 of the vessels, Fantasy, Fascination, Imagination, Inspiration, and my favorite, Sensation, were retired and scrapped during the pandemic shutdown in an effort for the cruise line to modernize the fleet. Now that Carnival Ecstasy has retired, only Carnival Paradise and Carnival Elation remain in the fleet. Very sad news indeed, but I wonder how long are the 2 final Fantasy class ships going to keep running and remain in service? How long do you think? Let us know in the comments below. It was just another busy week of cruise news, especially with all the coverage on Tropical Storm Nicole, which you can check out on cruisehype.com. Other cruise stories include a business update from Norwegian Cruise Line Holdings, Cunard's upcoming new cruise ship being delayed, Carnival clearing up some confusion over the cost of a ride, exciting new dining options for the MSC Seascape, Celebrity Cruises announcing its 2024 to 25 deployment, details on Carnival Celebrations retail stores, a Holland America cruise ship rescued during a hurricane, and much more all over on the site. Thanks ever so much for taking the time to watch the video. Do make sure you give the video some love by hitting that like button. And while you're at it, why not subscribe to the Cruise Hive YouTube channel? You won't regret it, I promise you. I'm Emrys from cruisehype.com. Thanks again everyone, and I'll see you all soon.